Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Fix Computers. We're looking at a Dell N5010 today that does not turn on. So let's find out what's going on with this thing. We do have a charge light on the front. I've got a charger plugged in at the moment and the light came on. However, if I push the power button, nothing happens at all. So power button, no activity. So this is probably going to be something inside that is shorted, or there is a problem with the power button itself. So let's take this apart and see what we can find. This laptop is proper filthy, and that itself might be a hint as to what's wrong with it. Normally this is the point where I get my fingernails in under the keyboard and I'm actually like, ew, I don't really want to. This keyboard is putting up a fight. I think it's literally just grime holding that in. Oh boy. Can anyone say liquid damage? That is approximately a cup of coffee. I wonder why this thing doesn't turn on. God, that's a good one. I'm getting the camera. Right, that's not even down properly. Part of me is tempted to just close that connector and see if the laptop turns on. But the other part of me is like, no, I think we'll take this one apart and see what damage there is under this cover first. And since all the screws are out already, that's what I'm going to do. Because, I mean, if it turns on now, then all I have to do is just clean this up and we're basically done. But what we should really do is a visual inspection and just make sure that there's nothing catastrophic under here that is likely to blow up in our face if it's powered on. So let's find out. That's got to come out. That's got to come out. Alright, damage report. So this isn't too bad actually. It looks like the keyboard took the brunt of all of that. Okay, so I can see a little bit of sticky residue around this. The CPU is on the other side of this back plate here, but there's no visible damage to the board. We've got marks all over the hard drive there, so hard drive might be in trouble. We've got a little bit of marking around the edges of the motherboard here, just where it's come down the edge of the case, but it doesn't look too bad. This area looks a bit concerning. We've got marks across the cooling fan here, around that USB port. There's the display connector there, and we've got some marks around the audio here. So my inclination, how hard is it going to be to get the motherboard out? The motherboard is a bastard to get out on this laptop. However, I've just spotted that. We've got corrosion, we've got corrosion up in here. That's got to be dealt with. So yeah, we're going to have to strip this. So yeah, the whole thing's coming apart. Let's get on with it. I didn't want to have to take this one apart. These things are a pain in the backside. This thing's going to have to be stripped and cleaned. Ew. Okay, let's do it. Oh, that wasn't so bad. I think it's one similar to this that I was thinking of that's even worse. There's one of these where you've got to take all the display assembly off and everything, and I think we might just avoid that with this one. Although we do need to have a look at this area up here though. That's got to be checked out. and we may end up, yeah, let's take the display assembly off as well. Have a quick look at the back side of this motherboard first. This actually looks okay on the other side. I don't think anything came across to the underside of the board. There's a little bit of staining in that area, but there's no actual corrosion, so there's nothing that's really got me worried there. I'll give that a quick clean up because I'll go over this area anyway, but there's nothing particularly concerning. I don't think that's what's stopping it from turning on. Oh wow, this is right on all the power rails. That's a disaster. Get a load of that, everyone. I'm amazed that we get a light at the front of the charger, because that's pretty harrowing. However, there's probably a massive short to ground, which is why it won't turn on. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to systematically clean and reassemble now. And I'm going to start from the chassis because this is the base point. So firstly, I'm going to grab the glass cleaner and I'm just going to square into this and just clean it all up with a toothbrush. So we've got a nice clean base to start from. And then we will put everything back into the laptop, cleaning as we go. And by the time we're finished, we will hopefully end up with a working laptop. Alright, so I'm going to start off by giving this thing a blow with the air compressor that will just get all of the loose dirt and grit out of it, just so I'm not having to sweep all of that off my counter, or much of it anyway. Alright, now we're going to use the Windex to clean up around these areas. Alright, I'm going to give that a blow dry. And this area all looks good. Right, I'm not too worried about that little bit of metal that came off. That's just an anti-rattle thing for the ports at the side. Alright, so let's start on the problem child. Right, and we're going to switch to the alcohol for this because we're dealing with a circuit board now. Backside of the board all looks pretty good. A few stains, nothing particularly concerning. Alright, so that capacitor looks a bit sketchy, so we're going to keep a mental note about that. We'll put it all back together and see what comes back to life first. If anything doesn't work after this, my first course of action is probably going to be to replace this board. These boards are not going to be expensive on eBay, so it's not worth getting schematics to replace a single capacitor when this entire DC in board is probably 10 quid. So just replace the board. Right, next comes this skanky looking thing. Alright, so that's still a little bit stained, but it looks a lot better than it did before. We've got the worst of the grime off of that. And this isn't going to be what's preventing the laptop from turning on anyway, so that will do for now. Right, since this is a length of plastic, I'm just going to clean this with a damp piece of cloth. Gorgeous. Next piece of the jigsaw. Okay, right, so obviously there's no real damage to the display assembly per se. We're just going to clean up these hinges a bit. So because this is display assembly related, I'm going to keep with the alcohol just to make sure I don't get any liquid into the assembly. And we're just going to brush these down. And while we're here, actually, I'm just going to go ahead and take off the bezel, since it's practically falling off of this one anyway, just so we can tighten up the hinge screws. Which I'm not required to do, but given that the display assembly is already off of the laptop, I may as well do it while I'm here. Yeah, those aren't bad. They needed a little bit of a tweak. Worth doing. And we'll give that a quick wipe down now, because then we can get right to the edges of the panel. Oh, right. I'm not aiming for perfection right now, because I'm invariably going to put fingerprints all over this screen while I'm reassembling the laptop anyway. I just want to get the worst of the grime off while I've got the panel exposed. Alright, that looks clean enough. We'll give this a quick hit with the air compressor just to blow out any dust. And in it goes. Okay, that's looking better. Let's get to work on the top case. There we go. Right, these remaining marks here. This is actually where the metal itself has been corroded. The current theory is that this is Coca-Cola, which will have a fairly abrasive effect on everything. So this stain isn't going to come off easily, but it's not really a problem. As you can see, we've got all the brown gunk off there, and it looks a hell of a lot better than it did before. So one thing I'm going to do though, we're going to take out the power button assembly here and inspect that, because that's probably got a load of nasty in it as well. And also we'll just generally give this back area a little bit of love. I'm going to go to alcohol for this because we don't want it to get all into the trackpad and everything. That looks okay actually, but give that a quick squirt for good measure. Hard drive looks pretty good. We've got some stains on top of the drive, but there's nothing really down the side of the drive. And looking underneath the circuit board, I'm going to take the controller board off and just do a quick visual inspection there, just in case. I think it's okay, but we're going to double check. There's a tiny little bit of marking there. That could be anything though. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's been any ingress here. That's fine. There's nothing to see here. Let's put that back on. Just a quick note there. I just gave this a quick wipe down, but I used very low pressure. You don't want to press down on the top of drives like that. So I'm literally just wiping across the surface. I'm not rubbing, I'm not pressing or anything of that sort. The general rule of thumb with hard drives is do an inspection, but if it works, leave it alone. Or at least until you've got a backup of it anyway. Right, this keyboard is pretty manky. Realistically, we're better off dropping a new keyboard into this laptop. I mean, it might work, or it might be the cause of the laptop not working in the first place, but I'm going to give this a quick wipe down just for the sake of seeing if the laptop starts and runs. However, realistically, I'm going to recommend that the customer pays for a new keyboard, because a new keyboard is like £10, so who cares? Just replace it. Wow, that's caked on there pretty good. You know what, screw this, I'm not even going to bother cleaning that up. Let's just see if this laptop actually works and we're putting a new keyboard in it. I'm not putting that piece of crap back in. Right. Power up. And here goes nothing. Skadoosh. Bam! Alright, so it turns on. Now, as a quick curiosity, let's just plug that keyboard in and see if it breaks again. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if it was just the keyboard. Nope, we got power again. It wasn't the keyboard. That makes me feel slightly better. However, the thing is, the other thing it could have been is right at the beginning that little catch there wasn't shut properly, which meant that the power button may not have been making proper contact and may not have been connecting to the laptop. But you can see the damage that was inside the laptop. We may have gotten it working, but if you want to fix it properly, it should be cleaned out. Now, once we put a new keyboard in here and I've finished wiping this down, we'll deliver a laptop back to the customer that is fully refurbished, not just limping on. So even if that keyboard had been the problem the whole time, I would still have taken it to pieces. Alright, let's give that a quick clean down just so it looks nice other than the lack of keyboard. Alright, we've got a user account. We're actually in hibernation mode. It just resumed Windows. Let's see if we can sign in. which we can. And we can, but I'm going to have to stop showing the screen now because we've got customer data visible. But our trackpad works, our screen works, and our keyboard, well, the keyboard probably works, but I'm not putting that back in the laptop. That's just crap. So we'll put a nice shiny new one in there. And then this thing is absolutely finished. So, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I will see you all next time. Goodbye for now.